I used to pastor a church in Moreno Valley, California. It wasn't a big church. I just had a little storefront church. It probably would have been bigger if I hadn't want to get out and travel all the time, be an evangelist. But I was always running back and forth on Sunday to that church from being out in a revival somewhere. And so I decided to have a revival one time, and I called Don Walker up, the Reverend Don Walker, and I said, Don, I want you to come hold me a revival in my church in Moreno Valley. He said, okay. And so he drove over to Moreno Valley, California, which is, outside of Los Angeles, about 70 miles. And he started a revival. So we had a good week of revival. God was using him. People were getting healed as he would speak the name of Jesus. So good things were happening, and people were getting saved. But it came down to Saturday afternoon. He was having a final Saturday afternoon service. And one of the ladies who attended my church was a black lady that owned a pizza parlor. Wasn't more than probably 2 miles from the church. She owned a pizza parlor. In fact, sometimes she'd bring pizza over for folks in the church. And so she was in Don Walker's Saturday afternoon service. She's sitting out in the audience, and Brother Walker was using the mind of Christ. He was prophesying things over people. And so he called this lady out. I'll never forget it. And he said, lady, come up here and stand in front of me. And so this lady who owned this pizza parlor, now her son, for her to come to the Saturday afternoon service, she had to leave her teenage son there in charge of the pizza parlor. And he was handling the cash register and was handling her business until she got out of church that Saturday afternoon. And so Don Walker calls her up to the front of the church, and he began to prophesy over her, speak the mind of Christ over her. And all of a sudden he said, oh, wait a minute. And he said, God is sending his angel of protection. And then he took his big fist. He said, right now. I'll never forget it. He said it 3 times. This lady standing in front of him, her eyes got as big as a hoot owl's. He said, wait a minute, God is sending his angel of protection right now. He was waving his fist and said that 3 times. And I'm sitting up on the platform. I'm the pastor. I thought, wow, that's wild. Well, about 5 minutes after Don Walker prophesied that over that lady who was in that Saturday afternoon service, remember her pizza parlor is about 2 miles down the road from our church, her cell phone rings. And she gets up and walks out of the church and takes her cell phone with her and doesn't want to disrupt the service, so she's taking a call outside the church. And it's her son, her teenage son, that was down the street 2 miles or 3 miles running the pizza parlor. And at the very moment Don Walker had called that woman up and began to scream, God is sending his angel of protection right now. At the very moment that he was prophesying that, 2 or 3 miles up the road from our church, the boy was at the cash register in the pizza parlor, and a young gangbanger came in the pizza parlor with a gun in his hand, and he said, give me the money. And he jumped over the counter where the cash register was at. The teenage boy was being robbed, was trying to give him the money, but he wasn't moving fast enough for the young thug that had a gun in his hand, and he got angry, and he took the gun and he lifted it up and tried to blow that woman's son's brains out. He tried to pull the trigger, and the gun misfired. He pulled it back, cocked it again, tried to pull the trigger a second time, and the gun misfired. And he tried to pull the trigger a third time. And this was at the exact same time, several miles away, Don Walker was screaming, God is sending his angel of protection right now. 3 miles away, someone is trying to assassinate this woman's son in their pizza parlor. At that exact moment that the prophet is prophesying that, several miles away, And he said, God is sending his angel of protection. Now, often in my mind, I could see an angel standing there putting his finger between the firing pin and that young gangbanger's gun, in between the firing pin and the bullet in the gun. They say, how did the man of God know to prophesy that over that woman? Well, it started out very general. His prophecy was general. His ministry, his word to her was very general. But let me tell you, as the Spirit of God came on him, God is sending his angel of protection right now, right now, right now. And that boy called his mother at the church and said, he tried to shoot me 3 times, and each time the gun wouldn't fire. God is sending his angel of protection right now, right now, right now.